everybody, and welcome to Round the Horn. This week's guest is Mr. Bob Santelli. He's a journalist for Rolling Stone magazine. He's an author who wrote a book called The Baseball Bucket List, as well as music books, including one about Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. He's the former curator for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. That's where he became a huge Cleveland Indians fan. He's currently the executive director of the Grammy Museum as well. Hey, Bob, how are you?
How you doing, Lee? I'm fine, thank you.
Well, we're doing as good as we can be on this end. And want to let everybody know this is Bob Santelli. He's on the West Coast. He's formerly a Jersey Shore guy. And, well, we'll let him tell you all about himself.
Well, you know, I had a career, of course, still have a career in the world of music, but the thing I love to talk about most, and I think why we're on here, is to talk about baseball. So although my career in music has taken me from New Jersey, where I was a music journalist and taught American music history at Rutgers University and our alma mater, Monmouth College now, Monmouth University, worked for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Grammys. My real passion other than music has always been, as you know, baseball. And from my days as a player and then as a coach at high school, Point Pleasant Beach High School, my high school alma mater, I've been connected with baseball pretty much my whole life, having written about it, having worked with Cooperstown, having done a major baseball exhibit on my two most important things, baseball and music, which was a lot of fun to do. Just got finished when COVID started. So, you know, my life has been really this weaving of baseball and music and baseball.
So we've led some parallel lives.
I know. Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, and I'm not really sure, but what year did you play at Point Pleasant?
So I played in 67, 8, and 9.
Okay, so we might have actually faced each other in 69. Now, I'm not sure if that actually, if I remember correctly, I don't think I pitched against any of the Point Pleasant teams, but at least Neptune might have played you.
I don't know if we played Neptune because we were at the time the smallest public school in the state.
Right.
Neptune, of course, is Group 4. I think we were Group 1 back then. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we didn't. Yeah.
I would have remembered because you probably would have beamed me. So
no. They saved me for the tougher teams.
Yeah.
So tell me about this book that you wrote.
Well, as I said, you know, my love for baseball was such when having written a number of books on music, my second daughter, her name is Jenna, and she was going to Oregon State University at the time. She swam for Oregon State University, but a big baseball fan. And right at that time that she was there, Oregon State were national champions, baseball champions.
Wow, that's right.
Yeah. And so she really got along with the team and covered them as a sports writer. And she said, Dad, I think I might want to follow in your footsteps and be a writer. And I said, well, great, then let's write a book together. And so we came up with this idea called the Baseball Fan's Bucket List. And it's 162 things that every baseball fan needs to do, see, read, hear, whatever it might be. And the nice thing was we did it together. So we traveled all over the country. We went to every major league park. We went to Cooperstown inductions. We went up to Alaska for the midnight game. We went to down to spring training. It was a great bonding between my daughter and myself. I have a son who's not interested in baseball, so Jeff takes that. And the book came out some years ago. It's still in print, but kind of out of date now. There's been some new ballparks and whatnot. But I'm planning a new version of it called The New Baseball Fans Bucket List, which will
We should talk because we're preparing a demo for a TV show. And some of that will be bucket list stuff, but it's going to be an insider look at baseball. And it's going to be things that most fans have never seen, or if they have, they haven't had an explanation about, et cetera, et cetera. So that's something we should talk about.
Yeah, we should certainly talk about it. And, you know, my connection to Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame is because of my music museum work. And 2 years ago, I gave the baseball keynote speech at the annual baseball symposium there. And the reason why is because I put together with Barry Zito, actually, a great pitcher for the
Yeah, right.
Giants and
Sure.
Oakland A's. And
Hell of a
we did that.
curveball.
Yeah, exactly. It's called Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Baseball and Popular Music. So it was a story of how baseball and music have intersected right from the origins of baseball, right on up through today. Talking to Bruce Springsteen about the writing of Glory Days, and John Fogerty about center field, and of course, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, one of the great all-time great songs in American music history.
Sure, right.
A lot of fun, a lot of fun. And then I brought Barry Zito back into the recording studio, and he recorded a couple of old gems and played a vital part in the success of it. And it was touring, meant to go to Chicago and actually come to New York, but COVID ended that. And hopefully, once COVID is behind us, maybe it will be resuscitated and head back to home to New Jersey or to New York. So we'll see.
One of our previous guests was Mike Massaros, the bass player for the Smithereens, who's recently celebrated a birthday. But Mike tells the story, and he's a huge baseball fan.
He is.
He was very close to Jack McDowell, Black Jack McDowell.
Yeah.
Who pitched for the Yankees, pitched for the White Sox. Now, Mike said he was the only guy that he's ever heard of, and myself as well, who was not a member of a team, but got dressed and sat in the bullpen with Jack McDowell.
Wow.
And Jack McDowell had a band.
Yes, he did.
They used to open up for the Smithereens.
They used to play when Jack, I believe, pitched for the Indians for one.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Right.
And he was out there when I was in Cleveland working at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I actually took Jack on a tour of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when he first arrived in Cleveland.
His band was called The View.
The View, okay.
And I have actually his CD somewhere in my collection. So, well, here's another cute story. And you mentioned Springsteen and the E Street Band. A friend of mine from Point Pleasant, you might know him, Mike Jaziniak. And
I know the name, I don't know him.
Okay, and well, actually, he went to Tom's River. He's from Point Pleasant, and he lives in Point right now. But one time at the Stone Pony, we were doing a benefit on a Sunday, and we were getting all ready for it in the wintertime. And 3 guys come in the door, one of which, Mike, and I played against Mike. He played for the Point Pleasant Merchants in the Jersey Shore Baseball League. So Mike comes in and says, we want to get tickets for tonight's show. And since I knew Mike, I said, you don't need tickets. I'll put you on the guest list. And he had 2 guys with him. He said, because it's snowing outside, do you mind if we stay around? We'll help you out. Or, I said, no, go get some pizzas and come back and watch the football games. So they come back later, and he brings the 2 guys up to me in the DJ booth. And he says, Lee, this is my friend Jeff Bradley, who was at that time the beat writer for the New York Yankees for the Daily News. So, and we've got to be friends over the years. The other guy had just won the Rookie of the Year award, and that was Walt Weiss. Now, Walt and I stayed friends for a long time. In fact, when he was out in California, my folks were out there. My father was having surgery, and he visited him in the hospital. It was a great thing that we did. And all players are like that, that. But Walt wanted to have Max Weinberg teach him how to play drums. And Walt is one of the hugest Springsteen fans you're ever going to meet.
So did you arrange that? Did he
No, we never got to do that. But I'll tell you another funny story real quick about Max Weinberg. And you know Max pretty well since you've written a book with him, I believe. Well, Max wanted to get a piano for his daughter, and he wanted me to help him do that. Well, and we conversed over the time period, and then he went on tour. So one day Max calls me in the middle of the day, and I said, Max, where are you calling from? He says, we just got off the stage in Iceland. And back then, you paid for the call to and from.
That's right.
So I said, hey, Max, let's cut this short because I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford this phone call. But Max is a pretty big baseball fan, too.
Oh, yeah. As is Bruce.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We used to play softball against them. And Bruce played second base, the Scooter himself.
Yeah. I played for 2 years on the E Street Kings when I was
Right,
working with Bruce on his book Songs,
right.
and uh, they were better musicians than ball
That's
players.
right. Yes. Same thing with Clarence.
Yeah, 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 of course.
Well,
Yeah,
anyway, back then we would play at Homedale High School, which is right off the Parkway. You could see it from the Parkway, but you don't know how to get there. That's one of the best things about it. So they brought the barbecue. Obi would set it up, and we brought the beer.
yeah, yeah. Those were good days. Those were good.
Yes, we had some fun. We had some
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Well, it's what about your baseball fandom right now? I mean, of course, you worked in Cleveland. Were you a Cleveland Indians fan?
Oh yeah. You know, I grew up a Yankees fan, grew up a Mickey Mantle guy, 100%. Still remember vividly I was a kid, a little boy, but 61 Yankees with Mantle Maris, that the famous home run battle. But my kids, I have 3 kids, and they grew up in Indians fans. And we were fortunate enough, we moved to Cleveland in 95. 3 weeks later, we're sitting at the World Series, first time ever. And so we went to 2 World Series with the Indians of 95 and 97. So my whole family, we're all Indians fans. But as you know, I live out here on Bainbridge Island now, just outside of Seattle. And so we embrace the Seattle Mariners as well. But they're kind of hard to root for because they don't win many games.
Right. Yes.
So I split my allegiance between those two. And then, of course, Jackie Robinson has always been a hero of mine. So I got a soft spot for the Dodgers, especially this year. And having lived in LA for the last 10, 11 years, it was nice to see the Dodgers win this year.
Well, you might not know this fact itself. Now, Jackie Robinson, of course, broke the color barrier. But you might not have known that it was done in Jersey City, New Jersey.
I do know that.
You do that,
Roosevelt
okay.
Stadium. Absolutely.
We just took a little trip to Roosevelt Stadium, and that's hallowed ground to me.
Oh,
but
yeah. And there's a great, right outside the tube station, there's a statue of Jackie Robinson memorializing that particular moment. It happened there. That's right.
No kidding. Yes, right.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's
Yeah.
home to Society Hill condos now.
That's right. Yeah, I know. Like everything else, Ebbets Field, all the great stadiums, Polo Grounds. Yeah. Well,
Hard to imagine, that's for sure. But there nearby, there is actually a field for New Jersey City University. So I'm surprised they didn't call it Roosevelt Field.
that's right. That's right.
And as a kid, actually, I played baseball there. And as a Pop Warner player, I had played at the halftime of the Jersey City Giants
Yeah.
in Roosevelt Stadium.
Yeah.
Some great
So
memories.
we both are from Jersey City.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, Lee, how our lives are parallel. Born there, we were schoolmates and classmates at Monmouth.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, the music scene in Asbury Park. I can't tell you how many times I snuck into your booth at the Pony
Yeah.
last minute to get a great bird's eye view of the stage. And of course, you had so many of those, hundreds of shows that you saw. But you're always nice enough to get me in there when I was writing regularly.
You go way back. And
yeah,
although,
sure.
it was kind of weird sometimes with that because some people wanted to be private. And Bruce would come in and he didn't mind people, talking to him, and nobody actually asked for autographs back then, which I was glad to. When you walked into the door through the doorway of the Stone Pony, you sort of got that feeling that, all right, we're here to have fun, and that's it. Don't bother him, and he'll stay around. But one time Bon Jovi came in with his crew, and I had to leave the DJ booth. I guess I was a security risk.
That's pretty funny, but not surprising.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we could go on for hours and hours and hours, and unfortunately we're running out of time. So it is so glad to have you here and to catch up after all these years, and I'm sure we'll be able to talk soon about our other little projects here and there.
Yeah, and when the new book comes out, I want to come back on your show and
oh yeah, absolutely.
we'll see how many things you have done as the ultimate baseball fan that I know you are, and we'll do a whole check off. Well, he's done this, he's done that. We certainly have done a lot of them. I know that you're one of the all-time great baseball fans, Lee, that I know. So it's a pleasure always talking to you about the America's pastime.
Thanks, Bob. Take care, everyone.
All right. Take care of yourself.
See you soon, folks. Talk to you next week. Good night.